What if I told you that right now, someone in your life is manipulating you and you don't even realize it? Manipulation isn't always obvious. Studies show that over 60% of people have experienced emotional manipulation in close relationships, but many don't recognize it until it's too late. It's not just about lies or deceit. It's about subtle tactics that make you doubt yourself, question your worth, and stay in relationships that drain you instead of strengthening you. Think about it. Have you ever felt like you're giving more than you're getting? Have you ever shared your success only to be met with dismissive words? Or trusted someone only to find out they never truly had your back? If any of this sounds familiar, you're not alone. The world is full of people who will take advantage of your kindness unless you learn to see through them. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. This is where Stoicism becomes your greatest weapon. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, faced countless betrayals, from political rivals, close advisors, even his own generals. Yet, through Stoic wisdom, he remained unshaken. He understood that manipulation only works if you allow others to control your emotions. The ancient Stoics, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, didn't just talk about wisdom, they lived it. They mastered the art of emotional control, self-respect, and mental resilience, all of which are essential to avoiding manipulation. Because here's the truth, you can't control others, but you can control how you respond to them. Through Stoic wisdom, you'll gain the clarity to recognize manipulation, the strength to resist it, and the confidence to walk away when needed. In this video, we'll uncover 16 powerful Stoic secrets that will help you spot manipulative tactics before they take hold. Build unshakable self-confidence so no one can control you. Set firm boundaries without guilt. Cultivate relationships that uplift, not drain you. By the end of this video, you won't just understand manipulation, you'll be immune to it. But before we dive in, let's make a deal. If you're ready to reclaim your power, do this right now. Hit that like button. It takes a second, but it helps this video reach more people who need it. Share this video with someone who might be struggling with manipulation. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a new lesson in Stoic wisdom. Every click helps build a community of strong, resilient individuals who refuse to be manipulated. Now, let's get started. Segment 1. How manipulators use words to diminish you and how to stop it. Picture this. You've just accomplished something you're genuinely proud of. Maybe you landed a big project, reached a personal milestone, or achieved a goal you've worked hard for. Excited, you share your success with someone, expecting a congratulatory smile, a well done, or even just a nod of encouragement. But instead, you hear, "That's all," or worse, they dismiss your dreams entirely. You really think that's going to work? That's unrealistic. You're wasting your time. At first, you brush it off, thinking maybe they didn't mean it that way, but then it happens again. Every success you share, every ambition you express, met with skepticism, sarcasm, or outright belittlement. But why? Why would someone, especially someone close to you, downplay your achievements instead of celebrating them? Psychologists have studied this phenomenon extensively. It's called tall poppy syndrome, the tendency of people to cut down those who stand out. Research shows that when someone belittles your achievements, it often stems from their own insecurities. They feel threatened by your success. They envy your ambition, or worse, they don't want to see you grow because it reminds them of their own stagnation. This is a form of psychological manipulation, a tactic used to keep you in doubt, hold you back, and make sure you don't outgrow them. But here's where Stoicism becomes your shield. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, reminds us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." These belittling comments, they say more about the speaker than they do about you. You are not responsible for their insecurities. You are responsible for how you respond. Here's the real danger. If you internalize their negativity, you start shrinking yourself to fit their limited perspective. You hesitate to share your dreams. You start doubting your abilities. You begin questioning if you even deserve success at all. And that's how manipulation works. This is why Stoicism teaches us to build an unshakable foundation of self-worth, one that does not depend on external approval. So, how do you combat this? Acknowledge your progress. Keep a journal where you document your wins, no matter how small. When self-doubt creeps in, revisit it. Detach from external validation. You don't need someone else's approval to feel good about what you've accomplished. Recognize your worth independently. Surround yourself with the right people. The Stoics didn't isolate themselves, but they also didn't entertain toxic influences. Choose relationships that uplift and inspire you. At the end of the day, your success is yours to own. No one has the power to take it from you unless you let them. So the next time someone tries to diminish your dreams or downplay your progress, don't engage in their game. Instead, stand firm, stay grounded, and let your actions speak louder than their words. Now let's move on to the next sign of manipulation: the illusion of words versus the reality of actions. Segment 2, the trust test: why words mean nothing without action. Imagine this. You have a friend, colleague, or even a partner who always says the right things. They tell you, "I've got your back. You can always count on me. I promise I won't let you down." And their words sound so convincing, so genuine, that you believe them every time. But when the moment arrives, when you need their help, when you count on them to follow through on their promises, they disappear. Excuses follow. Apologies roll in. Maybe even another promise to make it up to you. For a while you convince yourself, maybe they're just busy, maybe next time will be different. But deep down, you start noticing a pattern. They talk a lot, but act very little. So, what's really happening here? This is a classic form of manipulative behavior disguised as support. Some people use words as currency, freely given, but rarely backed by action. They want the recognition of being a reliable person without actually putting in the effort. And the more we believe their words instead of judging their actions, the easier it becomes for them to keep us trapped in a cycle of empty promises. Psychologists call this the intention-action gap, the tendency for people to overestimate their willingness to help or change. A study from the University of Chicago found that people often make promises based on how they want to be perceived, not based on their true intentions. In other words, many people promise not to help you, but to look good. And we fall for it because our brains are wired to trust words over skepticism. This is where Stoicism teaches us to shift our perspective. The Stoics were clear about this. Epictetus once said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." A person's true character isn't what they say, it's what they do, consistently, over time. Words are easy. They require no effort, no commitment, no sacrifice. But actions demand integrity. They require consistency. This is why Stoicism teaches us to observe, not just listen. So, the next time someone makes a promise, don't react to their words. Wait, watch, observe. Because genuine people don't need to tell you they care, they show it, without excuses, without reminders. How do you protect yourself from people who manipulate through empty words? Use the 3-time rule. If someone breaks their word 3 times, Take it as a pattern, not a coincidence. Pay attention to follow-through. Do they actually do what they say, or do they only show up when it benefits them? Be slow to trust. The Stoics teach us that trust isn't something to be given freely. It's something to be earned. Trust is built on action, not on intention. And if someone's actions don't align with their words, it's time to step back, reassess the relationship, and protect your energy. Now let's move to the next red flag, the one-sided relationship trap. Segment 3. The silent danger of one-sided relationships. Imagine this. You're always there for others. A friend is struggling, you drop everything to help. A colleague needs support. You stay late to assist. A loved one asks for a favor. You never hesitate to say yes. But when the roles are reversed, when you need support, encouragement, or even just someone to listen, silence. Your calls go unanswered. Your needs are met with indifference, and the same people who once took your kindness so freely now seem conveniently unavailable. At first you tell yourself maybe they're just busy, but then it happens again and again. And slowly, a painful truth emerges. This isn't a friendship. It's an unbalanced transaction. You give, they take, and they never give back. Psychologists call this the reciprocity gap. Studies show that in relationships, whether friendships, romantic or professional, people unconsciously track favors and support. But here's the issue. Takers don't keep track the same way givers do. A study from the Journal of Social and Personal Relationships found that people who are naturally self-centered underestimate how much others do for them, while highly empathetic people tend to overcompensate. This means that if you're naturally generous, you're more likely to attract people who will take advantage of that generosity. So what does Stoicism teach us about this? The Stoics believed that every healthy relationship, whether friendship, family, or romantic, must be built on mutual respect and balance. Seneca, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, wrote, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve." The process is mutual, for men learn while they teach. In other words, true relationships aren't one-sided. They're not about constant sacrifice from one person while the other only benefits. If someone consistently fails to show up when you need them, they aren't a true friend, they're just a taker. And Stoicism teaches us a critical lesson. You are not obligated to stay in relationships that drain you. If someone values you only when it's convenient for them, it's time to step back and ask yourself, am I being appreciated, or am I just being used? How do you protect yourself from being trapped in a one-sided relationship? Recognize the imbalance. Ask yourself, do they give as much as they take? If the answer is no, that's a red flag. Set boundaries. You're not an unlimited resource. Learn to say no when you feel taken advantage of. A true friend will respect your limits. Stop chasing reciprocity. If you constantly have to ask for support, it's a sign that you're not truly valued. Stoicism teaches us that we can't control how others behave, but we can control who we allow into our lives. You deserve relationships that uplift, not ones that drain. So, if you find yourself always giving while they're always taking, remember, you have the right to walk away. Because the moment you stop feeding a one-sided relationship is the moment you free yourself to build better, healthier connections. Now, let's move on to another dangerous form of manipulation: emotional control and gaslighting. Segment 4, Gaslighting 101, How Manipulators Rewrite Reality. Imagine this. You confront someone about something hurtful they did. Maybe they broke a promise, dismissed your feelings, or acted in a way that deeply affected you. You express your concerns, hoping for an honest conversation. But instead of listening or taking responsibility, they respond with, "That never happened. You're overreacting. You're too sensitive. You always twist things." And suddenly, you start questioning yourself. Did I misremember? Am I being too emotional? This is gaslighting, a manipulative tactic designed to distort your reality, make you doubt your own perceptions, and even question your sanity. Gaslighters twist the truth, rewrite events, and make you feel guilty for even questioning them. And here's the real danger. Over time, you stop trusting yourself. Instead of standing by what you know to be true, you begin believing their version of reality instead of your own. And that's exactly how they maintain control. A study in the Journal of Applied Psychology found that prolonged exposure to gaslighting reduces self-trust and increases anxiety levels. Why? Because gaslighting tricks your brain into associating self-doubt with safety. The more someone questions your memory, your emotions, or your reality, the more your brain tries to correct itself to avoid conflict. This is why gaslighting is so dangerous. It makes you doubt your own mind. But Stoicism teaches us to guard our perception, to never let someone else rewrite our reality. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, reminds us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." What does this mean in the face of gaslighting? It means that you control your thoughts, your experiences, and your truth. No one else has the right to define your reality. Manipulators seek control by altering your perception of events, but Stoicism teaches us that we must stand firm in our own reason and clarity. If something feels wrong, it probably is. And no amount of twisted words should make you doubt what you know to be true. How do you protect yourself from gaslighting and emotional manipulation? Trust your gut. If someone constantly makes you doubt your own memory or feelings, that's a red flag. Write things down. Keeping a journal of conversations, events, and feelings helps ground you in reality. Detach from toxic narratives. You don't have to argue with a gaslighter. Just recognize their tactics and refuse to engage. A Stoic does not seek external validation. They trust their own reason, their own experiences, and their own ability to see things clearly. So if someone is constantly making you doubt yourself, step back, regain your clarity, and reclaim your power. Because your mind is yours to control, and no one else's. Now, let's move on to another critical red flag. Fair weather friends versus true allies. Segment 5. Fake friends versus true allies. Who stands by you? Life is going great. You're celebrating successes, achieving your goals, and sharing your wins with those around you. Your circle seems full. Your friendships feel strong. But then, something happens. Maybe you lose your job. Maybe you go through heartbreak. Maybe you struggle with your mental health. So, you reach out to those same people, the ones who once cheered for you, and suddenly, silence. Your calls go unanswered. Your messages get ignored, and the people who were once so present when things were good, nowhere to be found. At first you wonder, did I do something wrong? But the truth is, you didn't lose real friends. You just lost people who were only there for the good times. Research in social psychology shows that many relationships are built on convenience, not depth. A study from the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that people are less likely to offer support in difficult times if they feel it requires emotional labor. In other words, fair weather friends stick around when it's easy. But the moment supporting you requires effort, they're gone. This is where Stoicism teaches us a powerful truth. Adversity reveals who truly belongs in your life. The Stoics believed that hardship is the ultimate test of character, and that applies to friendships too. Seneca once said, "A true friend is one soul in two bodies." A true ally isn't just there when you're winning. They stand by you when you're struggling, when you're uncertain, when you have nothing to offer but your presence. Fair weather friends. They're not invested in you. They're invested in what they can gain from being around you. And here's the hard truth. Not everyone in your life deserves a front row seat. A Stoic doesn't chase shallow connections. Instead, they cultivate meaningful relationships, ones built on trust, respect, and genuine care. So when difficult times reveal who is truly there for you, see it not as a loss, but as clarity. How do you ensure your circle is filled with true allies, not fair weather friends? Observe who shows up. When life gets hard, take note of who remains by your side. Their actions reveal their true loyalty. Invest in mutual growth. Build relationships where both people give and receive support. One-sided friendships aren't worth your time. Detach from superficial connections. If someone only values you when it benefits them, let them go. A Stoic mindset teaches us that relationships should add to our strength, not drain us. So, if someone disappears the moment you struggle, don't chase them. Instead, focus on the people who truly stand by you. Because at the end of the day, it's not about having many friends, it's about having the right ones. Now let's move on to another crucial warning sign: selective availability. Segment 6. If they only show up when it's convenient, you're just an option. Think about someone in your life who always seems to be busy, except when they need something from you. They take days to reply to your messages, but when they need a favor, instant response. They constantly cancel plans, but when they have nothing better to do, suddenly they're available. They talk about their packed schedule, yet somehow they always have time for others. This is selective availability, a clear sign that you are merely an option to them, not a priority. At first, you might make excuses for them. Maybe they're just overwhelmed. Maybe they don't realize they're doing this. But over time, the pattern becomes impossible to ignore. They only show up when it's convenient for them. And the harsh reality? If someone truly values you, they won't make you feel like a backup plan. A study from the Journal of Social and Personal Relationships found that people who engage in selective availability often prioritize relationships based on immediate personal benefit. In other words, they categorize people into primary and backup connections, keeping some people at arm's length until they need something. And the worst part, this intermittent reinforcement, giving just enough attention to keep you around, is the same psychological tactic used in toxic relationships. This is where Stoicism teaches us to recognize our worth and refuse to be treated as an option. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "A man is as unhappy as he has convinced himself he is." What does this mean? It means that if we allow ourselves to accept treatment that undervalues us, we are partially responsible for our own frustration. The truth is, your time is valuable. The hours you spend waiting, chasing, and hoping for someone to prioritize you, those are moments of your life you can never get back. A Stoic doesn't beg for attention. They don't waste energy on people who treat them as an afterthought. Instead, they recognize their worth and choose relationships that reflect mutual respect. If someone only makes time when it suits them, then the solution is clear. Stop making them a priority. How do you break free from this cycle and reclaim your time? Notice the pattern. If someone's availability is inconsistent, only showing up when it benefits them, don't ignore it. Stop chasing. You should never have to convince someone to value your presence. If they're not making an effort, neither should you. Redirect your energy. Invest your time in people who make you feel seen, appreciated, and respected. A Stoic approach to relationships is simple. If someone truly cares, they will show up, consistently, not selectively. So if you ever feel like you're an option rather than a priority, step back and refocus your time on those who genuinely value you. Because your life is too short to wait for someone to fit you into their schedule. Now, let's move on to something even more powerful: the Stoics' ultimate defense against manipulation: setting firm boundaries. Segment 7. Why setting boundaries scares manipulators and why you must do it. You've always been the person who says yes. Yes to extra work. Yes to last-minute favors. Yes to plans you don't even want to attend. And people love you for it. Until one day, you decide to say no. And suddenly, everything changes. The person who always relied on your generosity is now frustrated. They call you selfish. They guilt-trip you. They make you feel like you're doing something wrong. But why? Because boundaries disrupt manipulation. Manipulators thrive in environments where there are no clear limits. The moment you set a boundary, you expose their reliance on your compliance, and that terrifies them. A study from the Journal of Behavioral Psychology found that people who lack emotional maturity are more likely to react negatively to boundaries because they see them as rejection, not self-respect. This is why manipulators respond with guilt-tripping, anger, or passive aggression. They don't respect boundaries because they've always relied on your lack of them. But Stoicism teaches us that boundaries aren't barriers to relationships. They are the foundation of healthy ones. The Stoics were masters of self-discipline and personal sovereignty. They believed that true freedom comes from governing yourself, not allowing others to dictate your life. Epictetus put it simply: "No man is free who is not master of himself." What does this mean? Setting boundaries is not selfish. It's self-respect. It's recognizing that you are not an unlimited resource, that your time, energy, and emotional well-being deserve to be protected. And most importantly, it's understanding that you are not responsible for other people's expectations. A Stoic does not explain or apologize for protecting their peace. Instead, they set their boundaries clearly, firmly, and without guilt. How do you establish strong Stoic boundaries? Be clear and direct. Instead of over-explaining, simply say, "I can't do that." No excuses, no justifications. Stay calm, even when challenged. Manipulators will test your limits. Expect pushback, but stand firm. Detach from guilt. Saying no doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you a person who respects themselves. A Stoic does not waste time arguing or over-explaining their decisions. They simply decide what is acceptable and enforce it. Because here's the truth: the people who truly respect you will respect your boundaries. The ones who get angry, they were only benefiting from your lack of them. So stand your ground, protect your peace, and never feel guilty for honoring yourself. Now, let's move to another hidden danger: the illusion of connection. Superficial relationships versus authentic bonds. Segment 8. Surrounded but alone. How to spot fake connections. You're surrounded by people. You engage in endless conversations, share laughs, and exchange messages every day. Yet, when something truly meaningful happens in your life, whether a triumph or a struggle, there's no one you feel comfortable turning to. The group chats are active, the social outings continue, but beneath the surface, there's an emptiness. Because not all connections are real. Some friendships are built on convenience. Some relationships exist simply because it's easy, not because there's real emotional depth. And over time, you realize, you can be surrounded by people and still feel completely alone. A Harvard study on human happiness conducted over 80 years found that the quality of relationships, not the quantity, determines our well-being. Yet in today's digital world, many relationships are built on social convenience rather than emotional depth. Research shows that superficial friendships trigger a false sense of social fulfillment, giving us the illusion of connection while lacking real support when it matters most. This is where Stoicism teaches us to distinguish between companionship and true connection. The Stoics believed in the power of meaningful relationships, not shallow companionships. Seneca once said, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you." In other words, friendship isn't about numbers, it's about depth. Superficial relationships are easy to form. They require no effort, no vulnerability, no real emotional investment. But authentic connections, those require mutual respect, shared growth, and genuine understanding. A Stoic does not waste energy maintaining relationships that lack substance. Instead, they seek out people who challenge them, inspire them, and genuinely care about their well-being. Because a true friend isn't just present in good times, they're present in real times. Segment 9, Walking away is power. Why letting go is the ultimate strength. There comes a moment when you realize staying in certain relationships is costing you more than leaving. You've tried to communicate. You've given chances. You've made excuses for them, hoping things would change. But the truth is, some people don't change. And some relationships aren't meant to last. Maybe it's a friend who always takes but never gives. A partner who manipulates instead of supports. A colleague who drains your energy instead of collaborating. And now you're faced with a decision. Do you keep holding on out of habit, fear, or guilt? Or do you choose yourself? A study from the Journal of Behavioral Decision-Making found that people often hold on to toxic relationships due to the sunk cost fallacy, the belief that because they've already invested time and effort, they must continue. But the Stoics teach us a different approach. They remind us that letting go isn't losing. It's freeing yourself for something better. Epictetus once said, "The key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best." Letting go is not about anger or resentment. It's about clarity. It's about recognizing that your well-being is non-negotiable, that no relationship, no matter how long it has existed, should come at the cost of your peace of mind. The Stoics believed in detachment, not as a rejection of others, but as a commitment to self-respect. So today, I leave you with this. You don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to feel guilty. You only have to trust that you deserve better. If a relationship no longer aligns with your growth, let it go. Embrace Stoic resilience, trust your worth, and build relationships that elevate you. Now, before you go, take action. Like this video if you found value in it. Share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Subscribe for more powerful Stoic insights, because your journey towards strength, clarity, and self-respect is just beginning. Stay strong, stay Stoic, and I'll see you in the next one.